Hey, what's going on, San Antonio and South Texas? My name is Mike Jimenez, and that's Joe Garcia. This is the Area 210 podcast coming at you. My name is Mike Jimenez. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to go on for about an hour and 15, hour and 30 minutes or so talking sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. The chat line is open, powered by MCS General Contracting. We already see Garrett in from the Netherlands. Tex-Mex Frank is here. Mario Cavazos, Sam Salinas. Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Joe, what's going on in your world, my man?
Nothing, man. I'm getting ready to go ahead and celebrate my birthday this coming Saturday. Finally decided on the place, and that would be our good friends over at Pete's Place. Gonna go ahead and have a birthday party there on Saturday, which is gonna be the 29th of March. Gonna start at around 7 o'clock. Spurs Celtics will be on the docket, so they're gonna have that up there on the big screens. They
Yeah.
have these three massive screens in the back, in the patio area. It should be a good night to hang outside, watch some sports, have some drinks with some good friends. So the Alamo City Sport, let's say Podcast Network Necios are all invited. Hopefully you and Chica can make it too, Mike.
Yeah. I was talking to Chica about it last night. We're going to try to make it, see what's going on with all that. Pete's Place is fantastic. That's over in Old Town Helotes. And like you said, they have an indoor area, they have an outdoor area, and it's a sports bar, but it's very, very nice. You know, you have a lot of people there, a lot of people watching over there. It's fantastic. They have a good restaurant area there where it's kind of like a taco stand, but it's built into the structure there.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job over there. 50 years old, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, I just turned 48 the other day.
You're not.
Any thoughts turning 49 to 50? Is there something going on in your mind?
Yeah. The only thing that I can think of going on in my mind is life's too short for you not to enjoy and not enjoy what you want to do in life, right? Find your
Mhm.
purpose, find your calling. And the second thing is make sure you're happy. No matter
Yeah.
what it is you might be doing, who you're with, where you're at, make sure you go through life happy, man. Being happy is to me, if you're happy going through life and you have a good partner with you, you're a rich person, man.
Oh,
That's
most
all
definitely.
that's something money can't buy. So make sure that you give your blessings to God every day in regards to that. And also, being at 50 years of age now, you wake up every day. It's a good day, Mike.
There you go. You also get that discounted coffee at McDonald's, if I'm not mistaken. When do you get the Santikos discounts? That's what I
Uh,
want to know.
AARP, I think you have to be like 55 plus or something like that to get
Okay,
that.
so here's the thing. Did you know that ARP is designed for those who are older than 50, but anybody can join? You could be 20 years old and get AARP discounts.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I remember Lewis Black on Comedy Central was getting pissed off about it. Lewis Black, who gets pissed off about everything, was pissed off because there were young people, Gen Z types, who were latching onto ARP for the discounts because you could be any age and join. It's just promoted towards 50 and older. So it's kind of funny how that goes. But I'll get my AARP card soon enough, man. I'm about 2 years away from that, but fantastic. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It is Tuesday. We're already getting closer and closer to April, which means we're getting closer and closer to the start of the Major League Baseball season. Joe,
Yeah.
I got myself tickets to the Astros game Monday. So I'll officially be Space City that day, right? I'll be
Space
going over
City.
there. I'll be in studio. I'm gonna try to do the show in studio Thursday and Friday there in San Antonio. But Monday, Chica has days off on Monday, so she has 3 days off. She has Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays off. We're gonna go see the Giants play the Astros, and it's exciting, man, because I hate watching baseball on TV. But going out there, it's no longer Minute Maid, Joe. It's
Yeah.
Dakin Park. So gonna be excited watching the Astros go out there. No Breg bombs anymore, man. He's gone.
Man, I mean, they're always making fun of you anyway for being Space City Mike. You're going to be out there. You're going to be wearing an Astros jersey because remember you were supporting the Rangers, and now you're going to be going to the Astros fandom.
Yeah, so that was the trade that me and Chica did. I will trade my Rangers fandom, which I was a huge fan back in the day, back when you had Julio Franco, Palmero, Steve Bouchel,
No Nolan
you had
Ryan.
Juan Gonzalez, Nolan Ryan. I was a big fan back then, right? But then you look at it, I haven't cheered for them very much in the last 10 years or so. They did have their run, back in the day when you and I celebrated there over at the Stout House. That was fun. But I don't have like a much love for them. Chica is huge into the Astros, and her family is huge into the Astros. So they're like, "You're gonna hang with us. You're gonna be an Astros fan." I said, "Fine, but you drop your Rockets fandom and cheer for the Spurs." And Chica's already cheered for the Spurs in the past, but she's done one of those things where she cheers for both teams. I said, "No, there'll be no Rockets gear in here. If I see any Rockets gear, Joe, there was a basketball in the garage that had a Rockets logo on it. I threw it away. I threw it away. It doesn't belong here. In this house, we are Spurs fans."
So you could tell her, okay, you're going to be an Astros fan now, as
Yeah.
long as you get to go ahead and sway her to being a Spurs fan.
Yes.
All
I
right.
think it's a fair trade. I think it's a fair
Fair
trade.
trade. Fair trade. Spurs, I mean, they're not going to be very good for a little bit of time here, but at least you're bringing her in before they can say, "Oh, you're a bandwagon fan." No, she was
No.
here for the losing seasons.
Very nice. And we apologize for being a little bit late. I recorded Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia earlier this morning, and it kind of drifted into the 10 o'clock hour. But Jeff Garcia is on here saying, Ross gives discounts to 50-year-olds. Like Ross dressed for less? You could dress for a lot more less, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is? I'm 50, right? But I still have my hair, you know? Still have all my hair. It might be a little gray, but it's not too bad. Nothing a little haircut can't fix.
Yeah, I have dark hair, very, very, very little gray, but I'm getting it's not a 5 head, it's like a 4.5 head. I gotta change my haircut a little bit.
Oh,
But
man.
very nice. We have a lot to get into. The Spurs' path to a victory this weekend against the Celtics might have gotten a little bit easier as one of the Celtic stars goes down with an injury. We're going to talk about the NFL draft. Cam Ward basically saying, "I'm number one pick, MFers. It is me." He said he solidified himself as the number one overall pick. Do you like that confidence? Do you like that swagger from Cam Ward, who, by the way, was a quarterback at the University of Incarnate Word here in San Antonio? I find that to be funny. Let's go ahead and get into this, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
So
There's
Cam Ward was on his pro day there in Tennessee. And the Titans need a quarterback, right, for the long term. And they've whiffed on first round draft picks in the past. I remember there's Jake Locker, I believe, was one that they passed on or that they took, and he didn't materialize. But Cam Ward is considered to be the truth, right? He has at Miami, at the Incarnate Word, all of the places that he played in college,
video, Mike.
the experience.
There's a video.
He can run, he can throw. He's a little bit of everything. And Cam Ward is I don't want to hear about Shadir Sanders. Cam Ward is the one that I would want.
Look at that arm, Mike. Look at that arm, Mike.
He's got the arm. And to think that this guy was playing on Broadway over at Incarnate Word for a season, led Incarnate Word to the semifinals in that level of football, whatever D2 or whatever they do these days. It's exciting. San Antonio played a role in this guy's development.
Look at that. He already throwing the ball better than freaking Dakota Rain Prescott, man.
But Cam Ward going out there and saying that he solidified himself as the top overall pick, like boom, you saw my pro day. Isn't that the kind of swagger that you want from a quarterback? You want to have a little bit of arrogance, right? Just a touch of arrogance going into it. For him to say, look, it's not Shadir Sanders, it's not Jackson Dart, it's me. I'm the guy. I'm the truth. Draft me number one overall. And he goes on to say, quote, "I told them I'm solidifying it today. They finally got to see me throw in person. They should be all this should be all they need to see. At the end of the day, I'm going to be happy with whatever I go, what team I go. I'm just trying to play football." But for him to say they should be happy with what they saw, I was there. Amazing.
Look at how many teams were out there. How many people were out there.
Yeah.
More than 90 NFL team staffers. They had, quite a bit of the representatives from, a lot of these NFL teams out there taking a look at him. So, I mean, I think he had an impressive turnout, and by his standards, it was great. It was a great workout, showing off his skills.
Shadir Sanders is going to be interesting because where he goes in the draft is going to be all over the place. I mean, if Shadir Sanders gets passed up by the Giants at number 3, Going up at number 8, you've got the New Orleans Saints. Number 8, number 9, that area right there. Would the Saints say, "Hey, and we're not going to go after Tyler Warren. We're not going to go after, um, Matthew Golden. We're going to go after Shadur Sanders at that point." Do you have to pivot at that point? Or is it possible, like some of these mock drafts are saying, that Shadur Sanders just drops to the 20s because if one of the top teams doesn't get him, teams 8 through 20 are already solidified as to who they have as quarterback. The Cowboys are going to draft. Like, okay,
Look at this,
Shadur Sanders
Layla.
at 12. He says, hell no. Keep Sanders away from the Saints. Hey, it's better than we got. I'd rather have Shadur Sanders than Derek Carr right now, man. We're both on the same team. We're both ride or die for the Saints, Leha. Well, the fact of
Oh,
the matter
man.
is that if he's there at 8 when the Saints are drafting, don't you got to like kick the tires a little bit?
What if he turns out to be a bust, man?
I mean, I got to ask Leha this question. Jackson Dart from Mississippi State, does that get you excited? Does that rev your engines a little bit? Because Jackson Dart in mock drafts is either going to the Saints at 8 or 9 or not in the first round at all. That's the weird thing. And Leha coming out and saying he'd rather have Spencer start and go full run. Dude, I'm not going to entertain the idea of Spencer Rattler being the quarterback of this team.
I was going to say, wasn't that y'all's boy, Rattler?
He was what? He was third string for a reason. He was also a fourth rounder for a reason. Spencer Rattler. I mean, dude, no. You need to have more talent than Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is going to be a clipboard holder for the rest of his career. That's who he is, man. Hey, Kellen Moore made a career out of it, right? Now he's the head coach of the Saints.
There you go. Who was notoriously the worst bust as far as quarterbacks go? Was it Leaf from back in the day?
Jamarcus Russell would be the number one bust of all time. Jamarcus Russell.
Think so?
The old saying that Jamarcus Russell, that they would give him a blank playbook and then ask him what they thought about the playbook. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I read it." He's like absolutely lying to them about it all. I mean, he ate himself out of the league as well. And, it's funny because whenever you talk about the NFL draft, they have what's called the Wonderlic test.
Oh, God.
And the Wonderlic test is basically a comprehension test. It's kind of like an IQ test in a way. And I don't know if you've ever taken an IQ test, Joe. But the Wonderlic is trying to see if you understand patterns, if you understand correlations between things. And there's some quarterbacks out there who are dumb as rocks. And then when they come out with their score saying, "Oh, you scored a 6," when other people score a 40, you scored a 6, they go, "Oh, I didn't take it seriously." No, it's not that you didn't take it seriously. It's just you're dumb as rocks.
Let's show some of these Wonderlic scores. I got them pulled up here. So you're going to go from, it's a disparity here. You're going to go from some of the highest Wonderlic scores, right, to some of the lowest to show you, just what you were saying, dumb as a box of rocks, right? And look at that. 48 for Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic. He's already retired.
Yeah,
48.
Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick was also Ivy League.
Yeah. And you have a 48 for Ben Watson, was a tight end. And the great Vince Young got a
dumb
6.
as rocks. Dumb as rocks.
Frank Gore, a 6. Oscar
Mo Claiborne, a 4. I mean, to think about it this way, you have to actively try to like miss these things. It's multiple choice. It's not an essay. It's multiple choice, for crying out loud. So if
Do you get points for signing
bad,
your name on the paper?
no, it's not like the SAT. But it's funny because I mean, just because you're going to get a high score like Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't mean that you're going to be the greatest player of all time. It is just a test. But the fact of the matter is that it shows you how smart you are. Your talents can only take you so far, Joe. You have to be smart enough to be disciplined enough to read a playbook, to learn the playbook, to
remember
do all of that stuff, to remember the play, to see certain things.
You remember your teammates' names. That's another one.
Yeah. So, you look at some of these quarterbacks out there. There needs to be kind of an intersection between talent and brains, And when you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that have come out over the years, Mike Vick, for example, dumb as rocks, but athletically was very, very talented. But it only took him so far. mean, it made him a Pro Bowler. It made him a very good player for many years before he got in trouble. But he's also dumb as rocks,
I'm
right?
always gonna remember him as the dog killer.
Yeah, and how he didn't realize that that was a bad thing. He didn't like. It was just kind of like that's the way that he was brought up.
You know,
And
he
it
could
just
have been in the Hall of Fame had he
yeah,
not had all this stuff happen to him. He would have
right.
been there, no doubt. But because of all the stupid moves that he did, he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of what? Very good.
Hall of very good. Same goes with like Cam Newton.
True enough.
I mean, Cam Newton was an MVP for crying out loud. You know, he had a lot of success, but at some point, you need to have the brains kick in.
He just got
But the
beat to death, dude. The body just broke down.
but there's another generation of quarterbacks out there, you know, that we're seeing right now. The Jalen Hurtses of the world, the Patrick Mahomeses of the world, you know, the Josh Allens of the world. You know, they have their head on straight. You know, they're coming out there. They're just as cerebral as they are athletic, and they're going to be better off because of it. And again, athleticism can only take you so far. You need to have the brains to go on top of it all. I mean, look at it this way. You know, when it comes to wide receivers, as athletically talented as Randy Moss was, he was just as smart mentally, right? He doesn't get the credit for that because his athleticism was so great. But smarts will get you far too, man. Look at Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott athletically talented or one of the best athletically? No, he isn't. But he has good enough brains to be somewhat successful in the NFL. And you want to have the best of both worlds. Going back to Cam Ward has the physical tools. Beyond all that, he played a crap ton of football in college. The days of going out there, we saw this with the Cowboys, right? Who do they have as their backup quarterback last year? Trey Lance, right?
And Rush.
Right. But Trey Lance played 13, 14 games in college, and that was it. You look at Cam Ward's stats. Cam Ward played at all different levels. And because of that, he's ready to go. Joe Burrow played forever in college. He played, 4 years in college?
Yeah.
Played until he was in his master's program at LSU. He was ready to go. You saw that with Jaden Daniels coming out of LSU as well. He played a lot of game time. You take a look at players like Cam Ward. Cam Ward, look at this. Played 5 seasons of college ball. The number of attempts that he had throwing, 303, 590, 497, 485, 454. The dude threw the ball more than 2,000 times in college. He played 50 games. What did he throw? Like almost 200 touchdowns for his career?
Yeah.
Last season, 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The guy's ready to go.
You know, they're going to go ahead and show. I'm going to show this, man. I just saw this over here, scouring the internet, you know, looking at where are these players ranked right now. You know, this is done by FanDuel. It's ranking these the players coming into the draft, right? Of course, number 1, they have Cam Ward. Number 2, Abdul Carter. Number 3, Travis Hunter. Number 4, Mason Graham. Jackson Darts, number 5. Tyler Warren, 6. Shador Sanders at number 7. J.D. Barron. And then you have James Pierce Jr. at 9. And then to round out the top 10, Jalen Walker at number 10.
And this is the overall
rankings. Yeah.
rankings.
Where they think.
The one that's interesting there is Tyler Warren out of Penn State, because Tyler Warren's like a 6'6", just behemoth of a man, dude. And we saw what happened with Brock Bowers when Brock Bowers got drafted by the Raiders last year. Brock Bowers turned out to be the truth. He had a historic season. And I know that people weren't looking at him as rookie of the year because Jaden Daniels was that guy. But Brock Bowers statistically came out there and played better than Travis Kelce. He played better than Mark Andrews. And you see these guys coming out as tight ends, Joe, that are 6'5", 6'6", that would never have been a top 5, top 10 kind of guy back in the day. But if my Saints get him at 8, man, I'd be all about it. I wanted him to go to the Saints last year. Wanted Brock Bowers to go to the Saints last year. The Saints passed on him.
Yeah.
And you look at these guys, and I know the Cowboys have taken a. I mean, if that guy's available at 12, Cowboys take him. Cowboys take him. So scroll up real fast, Joe.
Yeah, I was going to show you. Look at Golden, Matthew Golden. They have him at 16.
They have him as wide receiver 1, Joe.
Yeah, they do. Where you want me to look?
Look at this. They have as quarterback at FanDuel's research. They have as the number 2 quarterback being Jackson Dart, not Shadur Sanders. So if Jackson Dart goes off the board second, Shadur Sanders might be that guy in the green room just looking around, going, "Am I ever going to get picked?" He might be the Aaron Rodgers of this draft.
You think he was going to fall just like, remember Manziel, how far he fell?
Manziel fell back in the day.
Bad.
Manziel was a Heisman Trophy winner.
He was projected to go as a first-round pick, and that was not to be.
Right.
You know?
That's funny. But the NFL draft coming up fast, man. It's less than a month away. Going to be excited about that.
Look at that. Cowboys select Quinn Ewers in the 5th round.
Dude, someone's going to take a stab at Quinn Ewers early, man. I'm not saying first round.
Second,
he won't go past 3rd round. Someone will take a chance on him.
You think if he's there and the Cowboys have a chance to pick him, you think they should kick the tires on him?
And Cowboy fans are going to get all mad because they're going to think that Quinn Ewers ain't shit. And the fact of the matter is Quinn Ewers is a really good quarterback, man. He's a really good quarterback.
What's the harm if the Cowboys get him, right? 3rd round pick, something like that, 5th round pick, what have you. And he's just sitting there with the clipboard looking at Dakota Rain Prescott. And then what? He picks up the mantle maybe after he leaves? I mean, why would you be mad if you're a Cowboy fan? You've seen what the kid can do in UT. I mean,
but is that the way to go? Because that used to be the back in the day. I used to cheer for the Oilers. They drafted Steve McNair.
Quinn effing sucks.
He doesn't, dude. And I don't understand.
Is he better than Trey Lance?
Yes. Yes, he is. It's funny because Texas Longhorn fans are very, 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 how do I say, spoiled. Quinn Ewers, say he sucks, right? Quinn Ewers threw for 3,500 yards last year, 31 touchdowns. I mean, he's not bad, Joe. He had a passer rating of 149 for crying out loud.
Is he Marbach nice? Do you dare say that?
Now, I'm not going to say that Quinn Ewers is elite. But what I am saying is that he's an NFL quarterback. He's going to be in the NFL for quite some time. He's going to have a career in the NFL. Say that he sucks. Then if you say that Quinn Ewers sucks, that means that you believe that 98% of quarterbacks suck because he's in the top 2 percentile of quarterbacks. He was a top 12, top 10 quarterback last year in college football. Now, does he get hurt from time to time? Yes. Yahoo Sports just unveiled their latest mock draft this morning. They have Cam Ward going number 1 overall. Again, Cam Ward says he solidified himself as the number 1 overall pick. They have him going to the Titans at number 1. They have the Browns passing on a quarterback and taking Travis Hunter from Colorado at number 2. They have the Giants taking Shadur Sanders at 3. Armand Membu going to Missouri. They have Mason Graham, defensive tackle, of Michigan, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Which one are you looking at, Mike?
Looking at Yahoo. Now, okay. Abdul Carter, who's considered to be the number 1 prospect overall in the draft, they believe that he's going to fall all the way to 7 to the Jets. As far as my Saints, they have my Saints taking Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, at 9. And they have the Cowboys taking, I always mispronounce the name, Tyra McMillan, wide receiver of Arizona. So the Cowboys taking a wide receiver. We talked about Matthew Golden. Taking a wide receiver is a big deal, man, because you have to give Dakota Rain Prescott some weapons. He doesn't have any weapons.
Look at Mario Cavazos and Matt Gomez, man. They just tearing up. Ewers, man. Look at what he says. Quinn Ewers can become Brock Purdy in 10 years. Exactly 10 years.
Hey, look who they have drafting Matthew Golden, Joe.
Where does he fall?
I swear if this happens. Keep scrolling.
Damn, that far down?
Keep going. They have him going number 31.
Jesus, dude.
They have him going number 31.
No. No.
Again, the Chiefs took Xavier Worthy in the first round last year, right?
Man. If you're the Cowboys and he's there, you got to get him, man. You got to get him. I mean, can you imagine having him paired with CD? I
Yeah.
like it. I like it a lot, dude.
Dude, why did the Chiefs always get the stud receiver down the stretch, man?
I don't
That's
know,
so
man.
funny.
Can you imagine if he falls that far down? Like, God, what happened, man?
Mm-hmm. Or what if the Commanders get him at 29? Or the
Getting better. Commanders getting better.
one thing that's great about the NFL draft, Joe, is the fact that there's so many trades that go on. I mean, it is a scramble to get your guy, and the way that it works in the NBA first round draft in June, there's maybe one trade in the first round, right on draft day, right? Spurs famously traded for Kawhi Leonard back in the day. You might have a trade like that happen from time to time, but when it comes to the NFL, you're going to have 5 or 6 trades leading up to draft day, on draft day. That whole move, Kevin Costner, is all legit. There's something like that that's going to happen, and it's so much fun to watch.
Look at Matt Gomez. He says we good runners and wide receivers, but they always f up legally. He's talking about when they come to the Cowboys. What was old boy's name? You remember way back in the day? He went and got caught because he went and stole socks, underwear, and cologne.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh God, you're a millionaire, man. Why are you stealing stuff, dude?
Yeah, he went to Foley's or something like that to go steal stuff like that at the mall. R.I.P. Foley's.
Gosh.
Matt Gomez is excited about Matthew Golden potentially going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes needs, right? And the NFL needs, right? The best receiver going to Patrick Mahomes. Hey, let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. I did Los earlier this morning. Let's give some love and talk some Spurs on the other side.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right. You can follow him at Jeff G Spurs on more than 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. What's Jeff Garcia got going on Locked On Spurs today? Who does he have on there?
Let's see. He's got a story coming up about Spurs keeping close tabs on guard Juan Nunez development overseas.
Yeah, we all kind of forgot about him, right? I mean, the Spurs got Juan Nunez in the draft back in the day, and he's one of those stash guys. You draft him, you stash him. Juan Nunez, I mean, I've seen his stats. He seems to be a pretty decent player. You never know. He's a young guy still.
Still is, and you can go ahead and read the full article here on Ken's 5. Jeff went ahead and wrote there. We'll show a little quick excerpt of it, but that's what it's entitled. Spurs are keeping close tabs on Juan Nunez development. So go ahead and check it out.
There's also an article on Ken's 5 from yesterday that Jeff wrote about Shaquille O'Neal taking a verbal jab at Wemby again. What did he say?
Let's go ahead and see. I'll stop sharing here so I can share the other tab, and that way we can check that out. All right, let's see. Shaq criticizes Wemby. There we are. So this is what Jeff was saying here.
Oh, I saw this quote. You know what? He has a soundbite right there. Early on, this is it.
Podcast. Speaking of the Lakers, your guy Robert Ory, he said, "Quote: If LeBron got the same calls as SGA, he'd be averaging 30 points a game, and it'd be no question who's MVP. The league, you're making a vital mistake if you give that to someone other than him as of right now. You just said the Lakers are the 2 seed. LeBron is averaging around, I think, 28, 6, and 6. It might even be higher than that. What do we think of LeBron MVP discussion?
Ever since I lost 2 MVPs, I have no idea what
a little bit of echo.
I don't know what the criteria is anymore. I always thought it meant you're the baddest in the league.
So who in your mind is the baddest in the league?
You got people like Chuck saying, "Oh, it's a team record." Oh, no, it ain't got to do it. Like, and it really don't make sense. Like you said, Wembanyama is the defense player of the year.
He won't anymore.
But he was, right?
Yes.
Team's 20 games under 500. Why are you the defense player of the year and your team's not even winning? That's all. No disrespect to Wembanyama. I'm just MVP is most valuable player. Player is singular. Has nothing to do with the.
All right. So the line there was Wemby should not have been considered defensive player of the year because the Spurs are 20 games under 500. Okay.
He said it's an individual award, just like
but he says the MVP is an individual award. Why isn't defensive player of the year an individual award? He's not making any sense when it comes to that. Now, his premise there, though, saying that maybe he shouldn't be voted for because they're 20 games under 500. I understand that. Same way that you shouldn't be an MVP if your team's 20 games under 500 either. Right? Wemby could have averaged a triple double. The Spurs have a losing record. He shouldn't be the MVP. Defensive player of the year, though, man, that is literally an individual award. That's literally individual statistics up against you, not as a team, because what somebody does on the other side of the court shouldn't affect whether or not you're considered to be the best defender in the league. In fact, they avoid you because you're the best defender in the league. And guess who right now is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year? It's a two-way tie, and one of them is Draymond Green. Imagine if Draymond Green wins that award this year instead of Wemby. But of all the verbal jabs that he's done at Wemby, that's the one that's the least egregious.
But was he right? Was there some truth in that?
There is some truth to it, but it's not a whole truth.
But look at it this way. If you're going to be hoisting up that hardware for Defensive Player of the Year, and your team has a losing record, what does that say? You're great when you're on the court. You know, you're great at being the best defensive player out there, but you're just on a bad team. I think that's what the message says. You could be a good player on a bad team.
And that's basically it. I mean, the players know who they don't want to go up against. They know that Wemby's going to block their shot. They know that Wemby's going to lead the league in blocks, and that Wemby alters shots and things like that. He is the best defensive player in the league. But if you're going to want to say that you need to have a winning record to do it, I can't hate that idea, Joe. I just can't hate that idea.
If it's an MVP award, I would see that you would need to be on a team with the winning record. That kind of matters when it comes to MVP. But Defensive Player of the Year, I think, is different. And the fact that you can be the best defensive player out there in the league on the court, too, with your team, but you can also play for a bad team, and the record does not reflect that. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing, the same scenario that Wemby would have been, let's say under. Even if healthy, Wemby and Fox would have probably propelled this team, no doubt. This Spurs team would have probably been, I'd say, at number 10 in the West right there. They probably would have bested the Phoenix Suns. Yeah. And it would have been a tightly contested race right there. But I think the Spurs would have made it into the play-in had they been healthy.
Joe, the Spurs have some big games coming up. Tonight they got the Pistons. So the Spurs have won 3 in a row and 5 of the last 7. They've been playing well, but they've been playing some bottom feeder teams. Portland is, they played a Philadelphia team that is actively trying to tank. They've beaten some bad teams. They beat the Mavericks, for crying out loud. Tough stretch of games coming up. They've got 4 really tough games. They've got Detroit tonight. They've got the Celtics. They've got the Cavaliers. And they've got the Warriors back to back to back to back. The game against the Celtics, though, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it might be a little bit easier. Do you have that highlight, Joe, of Jason Tatum last night? Jason Tatum.
I'm going to look for it.
Sprained his ankle last night in a game against the Sacramento Kings. It happened late in the third quarter. So it's very possible that the Spurs will be playing the Celtics without Jason Tatum. And he landed on Domantas Sabonis' foot, which caused him to roll his ankle. Sabonis was called for a flagrant 1 foul for putting his foot. So it was like a Zaza Pachulia type of situation last night. He was held off the court.
I got it finally. I found a good version of it.
All right, let's see it.
Let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Curse of the NBA, Jason Tatum.
Thanks for specifying. Tatum!
Oh, that was brutal.
4-point play for the
Zaza.
That was brutal.
And he hurt his ankle. Concerned. Brown and Sabonis are both over there.
Oh, he's rolling around too.
This
See
is
the
the
highlight on
last
this.
thing
Again, courtesy of the NBA
the Celtics
and
want to see.
NBC. Here's
Let's
the
go ahead and see it, man.
yeah. You hate to see it, man. I hate to think that Sabonis is a dirty player because I don't think that he is. But that was a very, very lazy defensive move right there. Again.
Oh.
Flagrant 1 for landing in his spot. Ball went in. Ball went in. Spurs tonight, 5.5-point underdogs against the Pistons. Joe, who you got tonight?
Oh, Pistons, no doubt. They're going to lay waste to this Spurs team, man. This Spurs team doesn't have it, man. If the Spurs team somehow beats the Detroit Pistons, that'll be one of the biggest wins for them.
9.5-point favorites, by the way. I'm sorry. Pistons coming in at 40-32. Joe? I think we're going to have a huge night from Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle tonight.
What about your dude cardio?
Champagne? My guy, Champagne. Let's set the over-under him as 12. Dude, we have Alex Noriega on the chat right now. He was in Vegas. It was funny. After the 34-point performance from Mamu, suddenly Mamu was like the one of the most popular bets for points for individual performances.
Yeah.
In the very next game, he only had like 2 points the next game, pissing a lot of people off. That was funny, Joe.
You know, we also have some big news too in the Western Conference here. Since the Spurs are still a couple games out of the getting into the play-in, you know, they think they're what, 3 games behind? The Suns. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to wind up getting back Anthony Davis today. He's going to return back to the lineup. You think that's going to improve their chances any?
It should. I mean, Anthony Davis is a top 20 player in the NBA. I mean, I don't think he's elite, but he's a top 20, top 25 kind of guy in the NBA. He's in a situation right now where Dallas fan don't want to see him. He's a constant reminder of what Luka Doncic used to be over there, right? He's a constant reminder. There's nothing that he can do that'll erase the memory of Luka Doncic. So just by looking at Anthony Davis pisses off Mavericks fans. Jason Kidd, they're looking shell-shocked.
He don't look like he wants to be there, man. You know what? Let me go ahead and throw this out there. Would Spurs fan be opposed? Let's say if the Mavs go ahead and give him his walking papers, give Jason Kidd his walking papers. Would Spurs fan be opposed to having Jason Kidd be the next head coach of the San Antonio Spurs?
Jason Kidd, that's an interesting question.
They're looking for successors, and you look at his record and what he's done with the Mavericks. It's not been bad. I mean, they had to go ahead and, of course, adjust to life without Luka.
I wouldn't hate it. The fact of the matter is that he commands respect not only as a coach, but he commands respect as one of the all-time greats. In the NBA, he's a top 75 player of all time.
His name has never come up as a successor to Coach Pop, and I've always wondered why.
Well, he has no ties to Pop.
I know that, but as far as throwing names out there and hey, what about this coach? What about that coach? And you have all these names that Spurs fans like to throw out. No Spurs fan has ever said, "What about Jason Kidd? What if the Mavs get rid of Jason Kidd, or he decides, you know what? I'm just going to resign. I no longer want to be here. Let's go ahead and work out a deal with the Mavs where he can just walk." If he leaves the team or they fire him, I wouldn't be opposed to him coming out here and coaching the team.
I wouldn't mind it either. I mean, that's a name that I had never really considered, and I doubt that it's actually one being considered. But like I said, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Just a name to think of. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't look like a dude that's happy with the situation that he's in.
Yeah. Joe, we're gonna talk some about the ladies on the other side, Joe. Let's get some love to MCS General Contracting because you had an interesting question that you were bringing up.
We're gonna get into that. Let's get.
We're gonna draw the shades down and talk about the ladies.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Got that Diamond Heart Concrete over there, man. Doesn't matter if it's residential, doesn't matter if it's business, government, military, whatever the case may be. MCS does it. They does it right, man. Uncle Sam will hire them. You should hire them too, man. They do it right the first time. Patios, decks, swimming pools, slabs, pickleball courts, basketball courts, all sorts of things that they can do with concrete. Give them a call, MCS General Contracting, 210-774-9155. You can throw my number as well up there, 210-508-0369. That is my cell number. We talk about financial products, investments. If you have a question about 401k rollovers, an IRA, if you have an old IRA and want someone to manage it, give me a call, 210-508-0369. Also do life insurance, disability, long-term care, a lot of financial planning type things, 210-508-0369.
So
Joe,
we had an interesting conversation yesterday.
Yeah, I got a text last night from you. And I think this started with a conversation we had after the show, right? You were talking about like dating and stuff like that. Now, mind you, I'm coming off of a 13-year relationship or 12-year relationship, and I've been with Chica now for about a year now. You asked a question about, how did you phrase it, Joe? How did you phrase it?
So I said, what would women like nowadays, right? When it comes to a man, would they rather be with somebody who's, so let's say, a blue collar worker, right? Doesn't make a lot of money, hard worker, treats him right, has his own house or apartment, has his own car, but treats them right, doesn't make a lot of money, meaning that they can't afford the finer things in life, like maybe getting them a Louis Vuitton bag or getting their nails and hair done all the time, but on the flip side, would a woman rather be with the guy who makes a ton of money and treats them like absolute crap, but they get all the things that they want, get their nails done, hair done, Louis Vuitton bag, gets to go to nice places, but the guy treats them like absolute crap. So I was thinking about that, and I told you, ask Chica to see what her response would be, and then I called my friend Carolina T, and I called her and I said, I'm gonna present to you this question, and you let me know what you think. And she was just being silly, dude. She was making me laugh a lot. And at the end of the day, she's like, "Look, I ain't messing with no scrubs." She goes, "I'd rather have somebody who's making money." Oh, what did Chica say?
Chica said C, none of the above. She said she'd rather be single if given that situation, between being in a relationship with a good guy who's broke versus a bad guy who has a lot of money. She did go on to say that, women have been in all sorts of relationships, right? They've been in relationships where they've been with a good guy, but is, doesn't have any means to take them out anywhere. And then they've had situations where they have guys who have been who've cheated on them or who have been abusive or whatever the case would be. Women have had all sorts of things that have happened to them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's your sister, your cousin, your friend, or whomever. They've had all wild experiences, right? But Chica did tell me, and I believe this, that one of the number one things that women look for is, and it's not flaunting money, it's can you provide? That is the number one thing that women look for in a relationship is, can you provide for them? Do you have a job, and can you put food on the table? I mean, it's so funny because what do guys look for, right? Guys, it depends on where you are, right, in life. In doing what I do for a living, financial services, right? I talk to lots of different people, and they have a lot of different experiences. I had this one guy, Joe, come up to me one time. I had a meeting with him. Sits across the table from me and says, "Michael, I've been divorced 3 times, and I've lost half my money 3 times." He
Okay.
goes, "I used to go after the hottest girl I could find at the club, the hottest girl I could find at the bar." He goes, "Right now, I'm 50. I just want a nice girl with good credit." And that's what he's looking for, right?
You know what? That's what Carolina told me too. She said
What's
you can't have a bad credit score.
I mean,
Uh,
you gotta have the 1099s,
man.
Joe.
Oh
You gotta have the
my,
W-2s.
come on, bro. No. Blue
Okay,
collar-
okay. Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question here. So I'm with Chica, right? We've been together for a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm crazy about her, right? If I didn't make any money, she wouldn't be with me. I know that.
She don't want no script.
And she has told me before. She sent me this meme a while back, and the meme basically said, um, "All women are expensive. You just find the right one you find the one in your price range."
Your budget.
I mean, because like, okay, so I'm a dad. I have 2 daughters, right? And my oldest daughter is 21 years old. And I have told her when it comes to dating, she better date a guy with ambition.
And a good credit score. What are you gonna say? You want to date my daughter? Let me check the credit score.
Yeah, let me see your Experian. Credit Karma this bitch. I want to see it. I want to see it right now.
Oh man. You know, that would be a good question to ask Gabby too, because she's young, right? So
Yeah.
what would she prefer? A guy with means or a guy that treats her right and doesn't have a lot of money? I like to see what she says.
I'll ask her. I'll ask her. But you know, when you're 21 years old, you're idealistic, and you'll go out, you'll go off and say, "Oh, you want the nice guy, right?" But when you're 40 years old, no time to be poor, no time to be broke. Tony Nala says, "If you don't have the looks and you have the money, you're fine." Case in point. That's funny. No, it's funny because
You don't have it. If you don't have the looks, you have to have money. You have to have the money. You're fine.
yeah, you'll figure it out, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not rolling in money, but at the same time, you know, I do well for myself, and it's just one of those things where, that's what women want these days, man. Because here's the thing, Joe. If you're with a girl who loved you when you were 20 years old, that's great. That's beautiful, man. People who had high school sweethearts, college sweethearts, all that stuff. That's a different breed, right? Because they're ride or die. They've been with you from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right? They knew you when you had pimples in your face. That's a different scenario. They'll love you richer or poor, right? You're 35, 40, 45, 50 years old, and you're trying to get into a relationship, you better have means.
But the thing is, it's funny. Look at what Leja says. He says they say that for the women, but if a man said he didn't want no broke ass chick, that's a problem. Shouldn't it be the standard for both, right? Why should the women want the men to be stable, but if a woman isn't stable, I mean, shouldn't that be the same for both?
No.
Shouldn't a man want a woman who's stable?
No, because the man's the man.
Yeah, but I'm saying if she's stable too and she's making money, you making money.
Dude, I've had so many. Here's what I enjoy about Chica. She believes in roles. You know, you are the man of the house, all that stuff. You know, I've had relationships in the past where it's just been like, you know, these dominant women and all that stuff, and it's just like, well, why? Like, what do I get out of that? Why would a man want to be with that? And I learned a lot from the failures of relationships and all that stuff. You know, I want to be the man of the house. I want to be all that stuff. And the only way that you're the man of the house is by being the man of the house. It's by providing, you know, and not being a dick. It's not that hard.
Look at Turner Les. It's the man's supposed to be the leader, Joe. Woman wants to be led. Not
That's
all
true.
of them are like that. You know, they got some that are
But
like
the ones that want to lead, Joe, will never be happy in relationships.
true that. But I'm just saying, like at the end of the day, I think, in my opinion, it's like great if the man's making money, can support, can, have the means to support and provide and all that kind of stuff. But it's also cool if the woman's making a little bit of money as well, so y'all can
Oh,
kind of come together as a dynamic. It doesn't mean that she has to make more than you, but if she's working too, that's great. Hey,
oh
y'all
no,
can pull together.
you have to make more than your woman, dude. In this day and age, dude.
Yeah.
Unless you were with him when you were 20 years old, you've got to make more, dude. It ain't gonna work any other way, man. It just isn't. Chica does very well for herself as a dental hygienist, and you'll see that we do a lot of traveling and things like that. We're going to Jamaica next month. It's because she has means and I have means, and it's just one of the thing. Leha, what does Leha say right there? I want to read that. The man's the man. Bet. Then she better stay in the kitchen and make sure the house is clean. And we go out, better not be any questions from them. It's not being domineering towards your woman. It's being the man of the house doesn't mean that you get your way 100% of the time. That's not what that means. What that means is that when there's something that is big that comes up, it's your job to take the lead. That's simply it. It doesn't mean that they are going to be subservient to anybody. That's not what I'm saying when I say be the man. I'm just saying, that there's certain roles and attitudes that one must take, and as a man, you need to be the provider. I mean, that's just simply put. And I go back and think about it. I like where I'm at right now as far as relationship is concerned and things like that. And I hope things work out, but it's just one of those things where Joe, you're gonna go out there and live the single life. You got to make the money.
Yeah, I do. All right. I'm doing all right for myself, but it's not like I'm going to be flaunting it,
Mhm.
I go out with somebody. I go out with somebody. At this time, man, I'm not looking at price tags no more. We can go have fun, go have fun. It irks me when somebody says, "Is it okay if I get a drink?" You want a drink? Get a drink. Like, why are you asking? You're out
Mhm.
there to have fun, Just get it. It's like, to me, that's kind of like a stigma in a way. It's like, is it okay? Can you afford it? I'm like, yeah, just get it,
Yeah, and being financially responsible is a huge thing. It's beyond making money. I know a lot of people who make a crap ton of money who don't have a dollar to show for it, man. Because they blow it on cars, they blow it on booze, they blow it on a lot of different things, and it's being more and more stable when it comes to it. I know in my life, in my first marriage, I got into a lot of debt, and I got into a lot of debt in college because I didn't have any financial education when it came to it all, and I racked up a ton of debt, Joe. At
Yeah.
one point, Joe, in my life, Joe, in one point, I had gotten to 91,000 in credit card debt, Joe. I was making 50, 60,000 a year. I had 91,000. I'm thinking to myself, who offered me that much credit? Right. And I can go off and say the banks were predatory, which they were, or I can just say that I was stupid, which I was. But the fact of the matter is that at one point I had so much debt, and that wasn't vehicle debt. That wasn't anything like that. That was just credit card and unsecured debt. And I remember going to this one company, and this one company says, here's what you do. You file for bankruptcy. You file for Chapter 13. And that was very devastating. And guess what I did, Joe?
File for chapter
Nope.
11.
Got a second job.
What'd you say? If you can't afford shit, go make more money.
I got a second job, Joe.
Man, you're sometimes, Mike, you're a dick, dude. The way you say shit, dude, has me cracking up. You can't afford something, go make more money.
Go make more money. Now, there is a company out there, Joe, that I'll let people know, and I'm not supposed to be giving like financial advice, but this is not anything to do with what I do for a living.
Yeah.
If any of y'all listening have any issues when it comes to debt, there's a company called Take Charge America that I personally used back in the day. They got all my debt, and they convinced the other companies to like basically cut the interest off.
Yeah.
And I paid off all the principal back. Because if you file for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, what ends up happening is you only pay like a third of your debt off, and then the rest of it gets canceled, and your credit gets ruined. But I paid back every single dime of all that. You know how I did that, Joe?
Yeah.
I got off my ass and I worked more, and I got better at my job, and I sold more stuff, and I became more
How
proficient.
many jobs did you have at one time?
I one time had 3.
What were you doing?
Okay, well, I was producing at Ken's 5. I was an insurance agent. I was a financial advisor or retirement planner, rather. And I was driving Uber. I was a substitute teacher on my off days. I mean, dude, I was a radio talk show host at San Antonio Sports Star. I mean, doing all of this stuff to pay stuff off. And I'll tell you this much, Joe. Log on to Credit Karma right now. 805 credit score right now. I am no bank's bitch anymore, Joe. It's nice. It's nice to pay things off. But it took a lot of hard work, Joe, and it's just one of those things where what do women want? They want a guy who's faithful. They want a guy who's loyal. And they want a guy who has some means, Joe. And sometimes that means working more than one job.
Working more than one job. Oh, God, dude. But you ain't got time to be working no 2 jobs, man. I got my hands full with the one I got. Like, that's all I got.
NSB, Mike is so inspirational, I can't lie. Well, I mean, it's one of those things, Joe, where I was looking at it, and to be faced with bankruptcy for a law firm to come up to you and go, dude, you're like the prime candidate for it. Like, you should have done this a long time ago. And to me to go, nope, I'm going to pay all this crap off. And I did. And that allowed me to get a house. And now I'm in the best financial position I've been in a while, even though I'm going to be paying child support pretty soon.
Yeah. Hey, and we're going to get into a discussion here. I want to get into about the Spurs and the jerseys that are retired, right? Because we have a birthday to announce right now. So the birthday that we have is going to be the little general, right? Avery Johnson. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday to Coach Avery Johnson. You know, wish him the happiest of birthdays there. Great guy while he was here with San Antonio Spurs. But does he deserve to have his number retired and raised to those rafters?
100% yes.
You think so?
100% yes. The biggest shot in Spurs history, you might argue, is the Memorial Day miracle shot by Sean Elliott against Portland, right? That's the biggest shot. But the most important shot in Spurs history was that 15-footer left side, Madison Square Garden, 1999. Avery seals the game. Spurs win their first NBA championship. He was also at the time, at some point in his career, the all-time Spurs assist leader.
Yeah.
Avery Johnson was also the heart and soul of that 99 team. What he did for the community. Avery Johnson, I have no issues with the Spurs putting his jersey up to the rafters.
I'm going to go ahead and throw something out here too. Robert Horry doesn't get talked about enough, right? We talk about Avery Johnson hitting that corner shot to sink that jumper, put the Spurs over the Knicks, and they went ahead and went on to win their first chip in 99. You had the Memorial Day miracle too by Sean Elliott. But one of the biggest threes or biggest clutch threes in Spurs history here in the playoffs, mind you, not even in the playoffs, in the finals. Robert Horry, Game 5, 2005, NBA Finals versus the Pistons. 5.8 seconds left on the clock. Manu Ginobili passes him the ball. Robert Horry hits that clutch three. Spurs get a 96-95 win over the Pistons, 3-2 series lead, go on to beat the Pistons in 7 games. If it wasn't for him, who knows what would have happened, man? The Spurs might have lost that series. I don't think that.
Yeah, and it was beyond that shot. I mean, it was the dunk that he had. It was the defense he was playing. It was like a quarter and a half where he went wild. He also went wild in Game 6. Robert Horry, I mean, I don't think he was with the Spurs long enough to do that. I mean, we all know, and it's just one of those things where Spurs fans get pissed off about it. But really, the one that deserves to have their jersey up in the rafters is Kawhi Leonard at some point. Finals MVP. We got that award for. He was Defensive Player of the Year as a Spur. He was a multi All-Star with the Spurs. He deserves to be up there at some point, and it's going to piss off Spurs fans. And I think eventually it's going to happen. I know a lot of Spurs fans are like, no, that'll never happen. He goes to the same amount of. You know what? At some point, people stop caring about that stuff. At some point, people will forgive, and at some point he'll apologize, and that'll happen. But the Spurs have some jerseys up there that don't belong up there. I mean, I don't think Bowen's belongs up there.
Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. I'm going to go and show it on the screen right now. That way everybody can see. These are the retired jersey numbers that we have. You have Johnny Moore, 00, Avery Johnson, Tony Parker, Bruce Bowen, James Silas, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Sean Elliott, George Gervin, David Robinson. Those are the retired jerseys that are up there, hanging in the rafters.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't belong there?
James Silas does not belong up there. Johnny Moore does not belong up there. Bruce Bowen does not belong up there.
Why James Silas?
I mean, he only had like 2 good seasons with the Spurs. He averaged like 13 points for his career. Bruce Bowen, I don't think was around long enough to warrant that love.
He was there 7 years almost, man. 01 to 08.
I guess so. I mean, he's on the fringe. I would say Silas, no. Johnny Moore, no. Avery, yes. Parker, most definitely. Bowen, fine, I guess. Manu obviously belongs up there. Sean Elliott belongs up there. Robinson, Gervin. You know, I was thinking about this. If you look at the Spurs all-time 5 best, right?
Yeah, of course, you Gervin.
Well, if you had to put a starting lineup, Joe, of former Spurs in their prime with the team,
man,
I think that the Spurs have the first, second, or third best team of all time. The other teams would be a Laker team, right? Because Lakers would have Magic and Kobe. They'd have Kareem along with just pick Hall of Famer, right? The Celtics would have, they'd have Larry Bird with Bill Russell and a lot of players like that, McHale and all that stuff. But a Spurs lineup, all-time 5 great, like if you put it in a computer generator, right, and say play each other, and you have Parker at the 1, Gervin at the 2, Kawhi at the 3, Timmy at 4, and Duncan at 5. Tell me that's not an all-time Legends team, Joe.
Be a damn good team.
I mean, just the best starting lineups in NBA history for your franchise. Robinson, Duncan, Kawhi, Parker, Gervin. I don't see any other team that beats that.
You look at Elias says, look up the NBA 2K Spurs all-time team guys. They do it for you in the game.
Yeah.
Put it together.
It's amazing.
Hanover Fist says his 5 would be Avery, Gervin, Kawhi, Duncan, and Robinson.
Parker was a much better player than Avery Johnson.
I'd have to agree with that sentiment.
But do you see how everyone's putting Kawhi in there, right? Because we all know that Kawhi was one of the top 5 players in the NBA at that point.
But they don't want to retire his jersey number.
No. And I get it.
They're never going to retire his jersey. Never. All right. Well, I just wanted to show that. I just thought it was interesting chatter. Oh, look at Elias. I think went ahead and put that in here. Put a link to it. Let me go ahead and show this.
So you didn't answer the question about Avery Johnson. Do you believe his jersey belongs up there?
Oh man, if you want my honest opinion, no. I don't think so.
How dare you?
I don't think so. Just because of nostalgia? Because he hit a corner shot? What else did he do beyond that? He was undersized at his position. He wasn't breaking NBA records. He was all right as a point guard. I mean, just because he's a nice guy? His jersey's retired because he's a nice guy? Come on,
Yeah.
Mark.
Hey, did you see that if you look on Twitter, the whole debate involving Caitlin Clark that Fox Sports did? So Fox Sports was doing this thing where they were trying to name the 10 greatest female basketball players of all time. And people got offended because Caitlin Clark was listed as number 2.
Of all time?
Yeah.
She's not been in the league long enough.
And I think that was part of it all. Let me see. I'm looking for it right now, Joe. I probably should have sent this to you. I thought it was funny because they're talking about like the greatest of all time, and Fox Sports pissed people off because they were like, "Let me see who they had at number 1." Oh, here it is, Joe. I'm gonna tag you in it. So this is Fox Sports ranking the top 10. Oh, it was the top 10 college basketball players of all time. I just tagged you in it. They have number 10 overall. They have Lynette Woodward from the 70s. They have Asia Wilson, who's probably the best player in the WNBA right now for South Carolina back in the day. They have Candace Parker at number 8. Brittany Griner, formerly of Baylor, at 7. They have Maya Moore at number 6. Shamik Holtzclaw at number 5 back in the 90s. Cheryl Miller, Reggie's sister, from USC at number 4. They have Diana Taurasi at number 3, Caitlin Clark at number 2, and Breonna Stewart at number 1. The number one reason why she was getting played at when it comes to all this, and people were giving grief about it, Joe, is what exactly did Caitlin Clark win in college basketball?
A chip.
She didn't win anything.
She didn't win the chip, but you know who did?
Everybody else on that list.
Angel Reese.
Huh?
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese did. It's kind of funny, man. JHNSB saying Clark is the reason why the league doesn't fly commercial. But Caitlin Clark might be the most important player in the last 25, 30 years, maybe of all time. Yeah. The fact of the matter is that just player perspective-wise, people are like, dude, she's the best player in the league right now. She's the best player in the league. No, she's probably one of the best shooters in the league. She's not the best player in the league. Best player in the league is Asia Wilson, right?
Who is the MVP?
Asia again.
There you go. MVP tells you who's the best player in the league.
Right. Caitlin Clark, dude, is just. I mean,
I want to hear you say it. Say it.
It's the argument that you have with Steph Curry being a top 10 player of all time in the NBA. Can you make that argument? Yes. But what does Steph Curry not do, Joe? He doesn't play defense. You look at everybody in the top 10 of all time. Michael Jordan, guess what? He was an all NBA defensive player. He was steals leader. He was a defensive player of the year. Tim Duncan, great defensive player, right? Never was defensive player of the year, but he always made the first team. Kareem was a legend defensively. Yeah. Larry Bird played good defense. Shaq played good defense. Kobe played good defense. LeBron played good defense. Bill Russell was excellent at defense. So when you go to the top 10 players of all time in NBA history, it is somebody who plays not only well offensively, but defensively as well and wins championships. So the argument of Steph Curry being a top 10 player of all time, he's the best shooter of all time by far, but defensively, he's a turnstile. He sucks defensively. And that's what we're seeing with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry. Could win chips, could win championships and all that stuff, just like Steph Curry did. I mean, like Steph Curry did. But at the end of the day, is an incomplete player. She's a turnover machine. She can't play defense, but she can shoot long threes, man. And it's exciting to watch. She's very exciting to watch. She's a decent passer. She's exciting to watch. But, I mean, the idea that she's the best college player of all time or even in the top 5 is ridiculous.
Yeah. Curry is absolutely top 10. His offense is that good.
But who do you take out? I suppose you take out Shaq, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. But Joe, You gonna get bombed on your 50th birthday?
I don't know, probably. I mean, I'm hoping we'll have a good time. I really do hope you can make it out there and join the festivities with me. And
Yeah.
I'd like to see you and Chica, and I'm going to invite Jeff Garcia. I don't know if he'll go because it's too far outside the zone.
It is outside of 410. Yeah, he doesn't go north of 410 very often.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But I will say this, Joe. Of all the places that we've gone to, he would enjoy Pete's Place.
He would. It's a nice place.
That's one place where he would enjoy. It's not fancy, but it's nice enough. He would enjoy it.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out here again. We'll go ahead and show the flyer because I made the really nice flyer yesterday. Showed everybody what was going on with my birthday and all that. So we'll show that here. That way everybody's invited. Everybody knows. Going to be celebrating my 50th birthday.
Nice. Good photo.
Yeah. We're going to be over at Pete's Place, and that's located at 14743 Old Bandera Road. Party's going to start around 7.
You know what you can do, Joe? Go onto my screen. Go onto my Twitter account.
Yeah.
And look up Pete's Place. And I have videos of the place in there so people can get an idea of what it looks like.
Yeah. Let's see. Didn't show it here.
Oh yeah, go under the magnifying glass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't erase that. Just put down Pete's Place.
Let's see if it'll come out.
No, none there.
Nah, just old places, old things.
Very. Oh, that was interesting right here. Did you see this? Who got hurt yesterday in women's basketball from USC? That's not her right there. Juju Watkins, one of the best players in college basketball, 1 seed USC, goes down with an injury, ACL injury, out for the year.
I saw that, man. They're reporting. There it is.
Spurs back in action tonight, taking on the Detroit Pistons. 9.5-point favorites. The Pistons are right now. I'm gonna say, Joe. I'm gonna call my shot, Joe. Spurs are gonna be within 3 points tonight. Who you got?
Got the Detroit Pistons, man.
By a lot or a little bit?
By a lot. Thing is going to be a blowout.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, hey.
I got the Pistons by more than 10.5.
And one last thing before we take off. NBA Rookie of the Year. The odds have been refreshed as of this morning. And as of this morning, Stephon Castle still the leader at minus 750. It's basically a 3-way bunched up tie for number 2 right now. I think he's got it, Joe. Especially with the fact that he's been starting these days.
Yeah.
Minus 750. Alex Sard plus 1,000. Research A plus 1,600. Yeah, he's got it. He's got it. Everyone talking about SAFC talk, by the way.
Yeah, I said to give a shout out to Matt Gomez at the SAFC Talk podcast. He said joined last night, and it's some good SAFC talk. So shout out to them. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, make sure you do so.
Very nice. I got to let everybody go. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back in studio on Thursday. Everyone have a fantastic day.
All right. Talk to you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.